All right, I think I'm naming this one Market Garden because, like Operation Market Garden, it was basically a British concept and sometimes referred to as a bridge too far because, wow. This is the Cold Steel 1796 Light Cavalry Saber. Now, I decided to get this because it's described as the most popular, most common European cavalry saber in history. Figured if I'm going to learn saber, this would be a good one to train with. Now, we've also taken a look at another piece that I got recently. During my recent nostalgia craze, this would be the 1860 Union Cavalry Saber from Windlass. And I've already done some work to it from that review. I've reprofiled the blade pretty much entirely. I kept the oval cross-section, but I rounded and repolished everything out to remove that secondary bevel. So now it cuts a lot better, and it took maybe an ounce off the blade in the process. I also did put at least a temporary leather bolster around the middle of the grip to beef it up to see if that improved the handling. The answer is absolutely yes, so I'm probably going to put a better leather overcover on this and get it glued and stitched down tight, and that should, between the two of those things, give me a lot more control over it. So already I'm doing better with a saber. But then I picked up this thing. Well, let's compare them side by side, actually, before we put this thing away. Look at this. Yikes. A lot more curve. A lot more beef. Or so you'd think. Certainly feels like it. But is it really? Alright, so the Windlass versus the Cold Steel. Now, interesting, both of them are made in India. The Windlass was made out of 1075 steel. This is made out of 1055, which Cold Steel seems to swear by in a lot of their swords for its resiliency, and it seems to be pretty darn tough, at least for what I put it through so far. The Windlass is a peen construction. This is a threaded construction, but everything's nice and tight, and yeah, the guard is really beefy. It has the traditional backstrap in the ears. I was a little worried about these ears, but they feel really good. They seem to just fit in the right spot for my thumb and forefinger, so they're not in the way. They don't rub. They're very well rounded. Shape of the grip is just very excellent compared to the other one that was way too skinny. So this is all just really, really good. The blade, well, part of that's the design and part of that's the manufacturing. Now, interestingly enough, compared to, you know, what you're seeing in the size difference, they weigh the same. 2 pounds, 3 ounces, according to my scale. However, the other one, the point of balance, is about 5 3/4 inches. In this, well, the websites that I've seen point of balance listed would say anywhere from 7 1/4 to 7 3/4. Now, this is like 8 1/2. It's very far forward. Now, I'm measuring from the guard, not the end of the languettes. So that might be the difference right there. Don't know. Same thing with the blade. The blade is a 32-inch blade. Now, that also puts it in the realm of spec for a historic version of this, at least if you're talking about a trooper's enlisted man's arsenal saber, not a more elegantly made officer's saber. So those were overbuilt to take use and abuse, and this kind of falls into that category. But I think the point of balance is in the wrong place. The other thing that I'm not crazy about, well, there's a couple of things. At least it came sharp, but it's not much of an edge. It's just very broad, very steep secondary bevel. So it cuts in smashes and rips and hacks, and yeah. But I think a lot of the, shall we say, inelegance in my result cutting was mostly me, because I'm still learning how to use, muscles I haven't had to learn how to use like this. My experience with anything similar would be something like a Tachi or a Chinese Dao. We're talking Qing Dynasty, willow leaf, and or oxtail, whatever you want to describe it as. But they didn't have this much curve, and while they did have that wider tip, they really tend to thin out, at least in the ones we were using in the classrooms, to the point where there's kind of like just a big machete, so light towards the tip of the blade, and usually not quite so long. So this is more of a beast than I'm used to. Also, I'm not really impressed with the blade on this thing in terms of how it's shaped. It's very ripply. So I think like the other one, I'm going to take it out, take advantage of the cold weather, and reprofile it. Make it a little bit more elegant and see what that does to it. But let's take a look at the scabbard. Scabbard's pretty decent. Leather covered, wood lined, actually has plastic inserts in the sides too. Pretty good metal fixtures, solid hangers, solid end cap. Fit compared to the other one. It's got some nice snugness to it and retention. So all good, right? Yeah, can't complain about the scabbard or the scabbard fit. That's wonderful. But yeah, I might have bit off a little bit more than I can chew here. We'll see. I'll tell you what, though, spending a couple of weeks with European Saber and then going back to Katana, wow. Yeah, so it's actually helping me with that. You know, I've been talking about this year of physical therapy I've been investing in. So yeah, not a bad thing. So I just wanted to get a quick look at this to you guys. I am impressed with its construction. It is solid. It has a massive amount of potential as a project. And I spent less than $200 on it. So got it on Amazon. So yeah. Everybody's favorite place to have stuff delivered to their door in 2020, which is, even though I know the calendar says it's 2021, but let's face it, it's still 2020 out there. Anyway, so I will give you guys updates on this one and the other one, as well as my progress with them as we progress. But for right now, is it a bridge too far? I guess we'll see.